Under the federal Virginia Graeme Baker Pool and Spa Safety Act, a spray fountain for kids to play in would be considered a pool. This is because the Act defines a pool as any body of water that is intended for swimming, wading, diving, or other recreational water activities and is not a natural body of water such as a lake or river. The Act also states that a pool must have a depth of 24 inches or more. Since the spray fountain is intended for kids to play in and wade through, it would meet the definition of a pool under the Act. Additionally, most local building codes will also classify a spray fountain for kids to play in as a pool. This is because such fountains typically require a permit to install, and they must meet certain safety requirements, such as having a fence around them. Therefore, it is most likely that a spray fountain for kids to play in would be considered a pool under both federal and local law. The Virginia Graeme Baker Pool and Spa Safety Act is a United States federal law designed to prevent child drownings and entrapments in swimming pools and spas. It is named after Virginia Graeme Baker, a young girl who died in a drowning accident in 2002. The act was passed by Congress in 2007 and went into effect in 2008. The Act has several key provisions. Firstly, it requires all public pools and spas to have drain covers that meet certain safety standards. These drain covers are designed to prevent entrapment, which can occur when a swimmer's body or clothing becomes stuck to a pool drain due to suction. Secondly, the Act requires all public pools and spas to have at least one anti-entrapment device. These devices are designed to automatically shut off the pool pump if an entrapment occurs. Thirdly, the Act requires all public pools and spas to have a safety vacuum release system. This system is designed to automatically release the vacuum pressure in the pool's plumbing system if an entrapment occurs. Fourthly, the Act requires all public pools and spas to be inspected annually to ensure that they are in compliance with the Act's safety standards. The Act also provides grants to states to help them implement the Act's safety standards. The Virginia Graeme Baker Pool and Spa Safety Act has been credited with significantly reducing the number of child drownings and entrapments in swimming pools and spas. It is an important law that helps to protect children from these hazards. Understanding the definition of a pool under this Act is crucial for ensuring compliance and safety. The Act's definition is broad, encompassing any body of water intended for recreational water activities, which includes wading. This means that even shallow water features like spray fountains fall under its jurisdiction. This broad definition is intended to capture a wide range of potential hazards and ensure that safety measures are in place for all recreational water environments. Local building codes often mirror or expand upon the federal requirements outlined in the Virginia Graeme Baker Pool and Spa Safety Act. These codes typically require permits for the installation of pools and spas, including spray fountains intended for children's play. The permit process ensures that the installation meets specific safety standards, such as proper drainage, slip-resistant surfaces, and appropriate water quality management. Additionally, local codes may mandate the installation of fencing or other barriers to prevent unauthorized access to the water feature, further enhancing safety. Compliance with these local building codes is essential for ensuring the safety of users and avoiding potential legal liabilities. The classification of a spray fountain as a pool under both federal and local laws has significant implications for its design, construction, and operation. Firstly, it necessitates adherence to specific safety standards aimed at preventing drowning and other water-related accidents. This includes the installation of anti-entrapment devices, safety vacuum release systems, and compliant drain covers, as mandated by the Virginia Graeme Baker Pool and Spa Safety Act. Secondly, it may require regular inspections and maintenance to ensure that the water feature remains in compliance with safety regulations. This includes monitoring water quality, maintaining proper chemical balance, and ensuring that all safety equipment is in good working order. Thirdly, it may necessitate the implementation of specific operational procedures, such as lifeguard supervision or restricted access during certain hours, to further enhance safety. By classifying a spray fountain as a pool, authorities can ensure that appropriate safety measures are in place to protect users and prevent accidents. When determining whether a spray fountain is considered a pool, several factors are taken into account. Firstly, the intended use of the water feature is a primary consideration. If the spray fountain is designed for recreational water activities such as wading, splashing, or playing in the water, it is more likely to be classified as a pool. Secondly, the depth of the water is also a factor. While the Virginia Graeme Baker Pool and Spa Safety Act specifies a minimum depth of 24 inches for a pool, local regulations may vary, and even shallower water features may be subject to pool safety requirements. Thirdly, the presence of standing water is a relevant consideration. Even if the spray fountain is designed to drain quickly, the temporary accumulation of water may be sufficient to classify it as a pool. Fourthly, the overall design and construction of the water feature are also taken into account. If the spray fountain resembles a traditional pool or spa in terms of its shape, size, and materials, it is more likely to be classified as such. By considering these factors, authorities can make an informed determination as to whether a spray fountain should be considered a pool and subject to the relevant safety regulations. In summary, the determination of whether a spray fountain is classified as a pool depends on a combination of factors, including federal and local laws, intended use, water depth, presence of standing water, and overall design. While the Virginia Graeme Baker Pool and Spa Safety Act provides a baseline definition, local building codes may impose additional requirements. Ultimately, the goal is to ensure that appropriate safety measures are in place to protect users and prevent accidents in recreational water environments. Therefore, careful consideration should be given to all relevant factors when designing, constructing, and operating a spray fountain to ensure compliance with applicable regulations and to prioritize the safety of users. Navigating the regulatory landscape surrounding spray fountains and their classification as pools or fountains requires careful attention to detail and a thorough understanding of applicable laws and codes. Firstly, it is essential to consult with local building officials and regulatory agencies to determine the specific requirements in your jurisdiction. These agencies can provide guidance on permit requirements, safety standards, and inspection procedures. Secondly, it is crucial to review the Virginia Graeme Baker Pool and Spa Safety Act and any relevant state or local laws to ensure compliance with all applicable regulations. Thirdly, it is advisable to engage qualified professionals such as engineers, architects, and contractors who have experience in designing and constructing water features that meet safety standards. Fourthly, it is important to maintain accurate records of all permits, inspections, and maintenance activities to demonstrate compliance with regulatory requirements. Fifthly, it is prudent to conduct regular safety audits and inspections to identify and address any potential hazards or deficiencies. By following these steps, you can effectively navigate the regulatory landscape and ensure that your spray fountain is safe, compliant, and enjoyable for users. The design of a safe and compliant spray fountain involves several key considerations. Firstly, the selection of appropriate materials is crucial. Non-slip surfaces should be used in and around the water feature to prevent falls. Durable and non-toxic materials should be used for all components that come into contact with water. Secondly, the drainage system should be designed to quickly and effectively remove water, preventing the accumulation of standing water and reducing the risk of slips and falls. Thirdly, the water circulation and filtration system should be designed to maintain water quality and prevent the growth of harmful bacteria and algae. This may involve the use of chlorination, ozonation, or other water treatment methods. Fourthly, the spray nozzles should be designed to provide a gentle and safe spray pattern, avoiding excessive pressure or sharp jets of water. Fifthly, the electrical components should be properly grounded and protected from water damage to prevent electrical shock hazards. Sixthly, the surrounding areas should be designed to provide adequate space for users to move around safely, avoiding obstructions and potential tripping hazards. By incorporating these design considerations, you can create a spray fountain that is both fun and safe for users of all ages. Proper maintenance is essential for ensuring the continued safety and compliance of a spray fountain. Firstly, regular water quality testing should be conducted to monitor the levels of chlorine, pH, and other important parameters. The water should be treated as needed to maintain proper chemical balance and prevent the growth of harmful bacteria and algae. Secondly, the filtration system should be cleaned and maintained regularly to ensure that it is functioning effectively. This may involve backwashing the filter, replacing filter cartridges, or cleaning the filter media. Thirdly, the spray nozzles should be inspected regularly for clogs or damage. Clogged nozzles should be cleaned or replaced as needed. Damaged nozzles should be repaired or replaced to prevent unsafe spray patterns. Fourthly, the drainage system should be inspected regularly for obstructions. Obstructions should be removed to ensure that the water drains quickly and effectively. Fifthly, the electrical components should be inspected regularly for damage or wear. Damaged components should be repaired or replaced by a qualified electrician. Sixthly, the surrounding area should be kept clean and free of debris to prevent slips and falls. By following these maintenance procedures, you can ensure that your spray fountain remains safe, compliant, and enjoyable for users. Safety is paramount when operating a spray fountain, and several precautions should be taken to minimize the risk of accidents. Firstly, supervision is essential, especially when children are using the spray fountain. Adults should be present to monitor the children and ensure that they are playing safely. Secondly, rules and guidelines should be established and clearly posted to inform users of safe behavior. These rules may include restrictions on running, jumping, or roughhousing in the spray fountain area. Thirdly, signage should be used to warn users of potential hazards, such as slippery surfaces or strong spray patterns. Fourthly, emergency equipment, such as a first aid kit and a phone, should be readily available in case of accidents. Fifthly, staff should be trained in basic first aid and emergency response procedures. Sixthly, regular safety inspections should be conducted to identify and address any potential hazards or deficiencies. By implementing these safety precautions, you can create a safe and enjoyable environment for all users of the spray fountain. The legal implications of operating a spray fountain that is classified as a pool can be significant. Firstly, the operator may be subject to liability for accidents or injuries that occur on a premises. This liability may arise from negligence in the design, construction, maintenance, or operation of the spray fountain. Secondly, the operator may be required to carry insurance to cover potential liability claims. The amount of insurance required may vary depending on the size and type of the spray fountain, as well as the applicable state and local laws. Thirdly, the operator may be subject to fines or other penalties for violations of safety regulations. These penalties may be imposed by local building officials, health departments, or other regulatory agencies. Fourthly, the operator may be required to defend against lawsuits filed by injured parties. These lawsuits can be costly and time-consuming, even if the operator is ultimately found not liable. Fifthly, the operator may be required to make changes to the design, construction, maintenance, or operation of the spray fountain to comply with safety regulations or to settle liability claims. By understanding the legal implications of operating a spray fountain classified as a pool, operators can take steps to minimize their risk of liability and ensure compliance with applicable regulations. Staying informed about changes in regulations and best practices is crucial for ensuring the continued safety and compliance of a spray fountain. Firstly, subscribe to industry publications and newsletters to stay up to date on the latest news and developments. Secondly, attend industry conferences and workshops to learn from experts and network with other professionals. Thirdly, participate in online forums and discussion groups to share information and ask questions. Fourthly, consult with local building officials and regulatory agencies to stay informed about changes in local codes and regulations. Fifthly, regularly review the Virginia Graeme Baker Pool and Spa Safety Act and any relevant state or local laws to ensure compliance with all applicable requirements. Sixthly, establish a system for tracking changes in regulations and best practices and for implementing necessary changes to the design, construction, maintenance, or operation of the spray fountain. By staying informed about changes in regulations and best practices, you can ensure that your spray fountain remains safe, compliant, and enjoyable for users. When determining whether a spray fountain is a pool, consider that the intent behind the Virginia Graeme Baker Pool and Spa Safety Act is to prevent drowning and entrapment. Even though a spray fountain might not have a large body of standing water, the potential for children to slip, fall, and potentially injure themselves in even shallow water is a concern. Also, the Act's focus on recreational water activities means that any water feature designed for play is likely to be scrutinized under pool safety standards. A key aspect of compliance is ensuring proper drainage to prevent standing water, using non-slip surfaces to reduce the risk of falls, and maintaining water quality to prevent the spread of disease. Additionally, local building codes often have specific requirements for water features, which may include fencing, signage, and regular inspections. Therefore, it's always best to consult with local authorities to understand the specific regulations in place and to ensure that the spray fountain meets all safety standards. Remember that even if the spray fountain doesn't look like a traditional pool, the safety risks associated with recreational water activities still apply. The Virginia Graeme Baker Pool and Spa Safety Act and local building codes are designed to address these risks and protect the public. So, when in doubt, it's always better to err on the side of caution and treat the spray fountain as a pool from a safety and regulatory perspective. This approach will help ensure that the water feature is safe, compliant, and enjoyable for everyone. And remember, regular maintenance, inspections, and adherence to safety guidelines are crucial for preventing accidents and ensuring the long-term safety of the spray fountain. In addition to the points already discussed, it's important to consider the specific design and features of the spray fountain when determining its classification as a pool or fountain. For example, if the spray fountain includes features such as jets, nozzles, or other water features that create a significant amount of splashing or spraying, it may be more likely to be classified as a pool. This is because these features can increase the risk of slips, falls, and other accidents. Also, if the spray fountain is located in an area that is heavily trafficked by children, it may be subject to stricter safety regulations. This is because children are more likely to engage in risky behavior and are more vulnerable to accidents. When evaluating the design and features of the spray fountain, it's important to consider the potential risks and hazards associated with each element. For example, are the jets and nozzles positioned in a way that could cause injury? Are the surfaces slippery when wet? Is the water depth appropriate for the age and abilities of the users? By carefully considering these factors, you can identify potential safety concerns and take steps to mitigate them. In addition to the design and features of the spray fountain, it's also important to consider the overall context in which it is located. For example, is the spray fountain located in a public park, a school, or a private residence? The location of the spray fountain can affect the applicable safety regulations and the level of supervision required. Also, consider the demographics of the users who are likely to use the spray fountain. Are they primarily children, adults, or a mix of both? The demographics of the users can influence the types of safety measures that are needed. For example, if the spray fountain is primarily used by children, it may be necessary to provide additional supervision and implement stricter rules and guidelines. By considering the overall context in which the spray fountain is located, you can tailor your safety measures to the specific needs and risks of the users. One crucial element often overlooked is the water source itself. If the spray fountain uses recirculated water, it almost certainly falls under pool regulations because of the increased risk of bacterial contamination and the need for stringent water quality control. Systems that recirculate water require filtration, disinfection, and regular testing to maintain safe levels of chlorine and other chemicals. Even if the spray fountain uses fresh domestic water, backflow prevention is essential to protect the potable water supply from contamination. A backflow preventer ensures that water cannot flow back into the domestic water system, which could introduce contaminants and pose a health hazard. The type of backflow preventer required may vary depending on local plumbing codes, but it's a critical component of any spray fountain installation. Also, consider the potential for waterborne illnesses. While fresh domestic water is generally safe, it can still contain harmful bacteria or parasites. Regular water testing can help identify any potential problems and ensure that the water is safe for recreational use. If the spray fountain is intended for use by young children or individuals with compromised immune systems, it may be necessary to implement additional water treatment measures such as ultraviolet disinfection or ozonation.